So I'll leave you with this. Don't be afraid to share your dimensions, but also understand it's cool if you don't. There's a key thing that I gotta remind myself on a daily, and that's that being multidimensional is a daily process. And depending on what time of day it is, who I'm with, and this goes right back to my very first video, just who am I? It really depends, because consider I'm with family versus I'm with friends versus I'm with coworkers versus I'm with classmates. There's gonna be different dimensions in me that go to the background and others that come to the foreground. Some stuff I'm gonna keep it backstage, other stuff is gonna be on the front stage. So being multidimensional, it's a daily process and it changes, and that's okay. And I'm actually learning how to sit with being multidimensional in just my daily life. Yo, it's cool if you don't know what you're doing in this element of your life. It's cool if you feel like you done mastered the game in this dimension of your life. It's cool that on Tuesday, you was having the time of your life. You felt like you was in the zone, everything was falling into place. But then come Saturday, you like, bro, what am I doing with my life? What's really going on? I figured that this was gonna work out, but no, like man plans and God laughs. But when you consider being multidimensional, not everything is going to go perfect all the time, but then also not everything is gonna be rough and you're not gonna be in the trenches all the time. When I consider every dimension of me and how each dimension looks different, there's an element of vulnerability that goes along with that, because when I'm in a space with people that I don't know, or when I'm in a space with people that I'm very comfortable and familiar with, depending on how I'm feeling or what the situation is, certain things will make so much sense to do and say and feel, while other things be like, I actually don't want to share that with y'all. I actually don't want y'all to see this dimension of me just yet or ever. Not everything is for everybody. Not everything that is going on in my life needs to be shared with everybody all the time. And then as a key piece, not everybody cares about all of my dimensions. Like, let's be very honest. Not everybody cares about everything that I care about. Not everybody cares about all the dimensions of me that make me me. And when I consider everybody who knows me, they probably only know like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 different dimensions of me. But I'm categorized in other people's lives. And in the same way, the people that are in my life, whether they're close or just acquaintances or even strangers, but I'm just like familiar with their existence, everybody has a place in my mind. Like, everybody's categorized as, oh yeah, this is a close family member, oh this is a classmate, or this is someone who we went to the same high school, but like we never really talked or anything. But we tend to categorize people as one-dimensional beings as they relate to our lives. Not even just, I'm not even gonna say we, because I don't know who's on the other side of this. But I know from personal experience, I tend to categorize people as one-dimensional beings, maybe two-dimensional beings, depending on how much interaction I've had with that individual or group of individuals. But it's easier that way. But just because it's easier doesn't mean it's the right way or the wrong way either. Just, it's easier to categorize people as one or two things. But if I was to categorize every single human being that I ever interacted with, either closely or like tangentially, if I was to try and have all of their dimensions, everything that made them who they are in my mind, that's not possible, because we're all multidimensional beings and we all have so much that makes us who we are. as people. So there's so much history, so many experiences, so many generational tendencies that have been passed down in their own lineage. I ain't got time to figure. I'm trying to figure that out for my own self. What I got to do, keeping everybody's bloodlines and understanding everything that makes them them. I ain't got time for that. I don't really care about what your great granddaddy did or didn't do that made its way into your father's life and now it's manifesting into your life. What I care about that? So all I really need to know is that we went to the same high school, and that's all it can be. That's all. That's it. It don't have to be nothing more. It ain't gotta be nothing less. In that same vein, it doesn't mean that I'm devaluing people or I'm limiting people's personalities or limiting people's humanity to just that one thing that I know them for. But it's just a reality check that, one, I don't have to be all up in everybody's history. I don't have to be all up in everybody's emotional life for me to know them or for me to interact with them healthily. And for me to, that doesn't have to be how I expect people to interact with me either. Just because not everybody knows about my emotional history from the past 15 years doesn't mean they don't care about me. It just means, one, maybe I just didn't want to share it with them. Or two, they just don't need to know that information. Not everybody needs to know everything about everybody all the time. Crazy thing is about social media, we think that's the case. We think that if it's not being shared on social, then it's, one, not important, or two, it's not valid. And when you really consider it, life and social media, they both go hand in hand, where we only share what we want. And we typically share dimensions of us that we want on display. Typically. A lot of it is geared to validation. A lot of it is geared to just sharing good news. Sometimes it is about just saying yo, look, this is what happened for me and I would love to share and I would love for it to happen to others, and just to show that it's possible. Key point, being a multidimensional being is important to understand as I develop personally, and it's also important for me to understand about other people. So I shouldn't get stuck, and this, I'm learning how to do this daily, weekly, really honing in on how I perceive other people and how I perceive others to perceive me, and really thinking about, some people only know me for one thing, and that's cool. I only know some people for just one thing, and that's cool. Deeper connections lead to unfolding dimensions of people, and also leads to me sharing more dimensions of myself with others. Another key point, being multidimensional does not inherently mean I have to share all my dimensions with everybody and their mother all the time, every day. As another key point, it's easy to see somebody from a distance and be like, oh, they're physically attractive, therefore I think they're cool and I think we could be friends. But then the second you actually start to unfold the dimensions of an individual and it goes deeper than just the surface level stuff, then it's the more you get to learn about somebody, sometimes the scarier it gets. Not because the person's dimensions are frightening or anything, but it's just, there's a heightened level of vulnerability that goes into that equation. And vulnerability, that's a lovely word or a frightening word for some people. Bottom line is, it's okay to be multidimensional. It's also okay to be one-dimensional. So I'll leave you with this. Don't be afraid to share your dimensions, but also understand it's cool if you don't.